I cradled the phone and listened to the rain falling on the rusty fire escape. The rhythm of the falling rain sounded like Neil Sedaka had been bugled to Jesus and had come back outside my kitchen window to play my fire escape like a xylophone. It had been a long time since Neil Sedaka had had a big hit. Probably that was just as well. The rain would eventually stop, I reasoned. McGovern would come round and position a major story for us. The sun would come out and shine brightly on John Denver's shoulder. Figuratively speaking, of course, since John Denver's shoulder was currently worm bait. And I reckoned, inevitably, I would also locate Dylan Weinberg. I felt fairly certain that all of these things would come to pass at least by the time Neil Sedaka got his next big hit. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Grandma's Handbag. It's so good to be back. Really missed you guys. What can I say? It's been good to have a little breakaway, a little bit of a holiday. I can tell you about that in a second, but in the meantime, really good to be back. Grandma's little helper, Dunkler Hirsch, German Bavarian dark wheat beer. Very easy going, very nice stuff. Got the old swing top as well, so I'll cap that so the insects don't get it out here. First things first, new subscribers and current subscribers too. So glad you could be back and join us. Welcome to all new subscribers. Seem to have picked up a few while I've been away, and I can only attribute that to the first person I want to shout out to, who is digging in the crate, Diana. As we all know, she's doing fantastic work there, and I mean, I just sent a humble little CD, and she's put a big thank you out. I really wasn't expecting it, so yeah, very humbled and grateful for that. So yeah, I hope you find something you like. We'll stick around and see what we can do. Coming to you from well, the backyard of what could we say, Southern Highlands or southwestern Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. Second shout out I want to give out is to Brad Tech Webcast in the YouTube vinyl community as well. Brad and I have been sharing a few things back and forward on 90s Oz rock and that of late. Really great guy. He doesn't produce videos. His medium is podcasting, Tech Webcast. So I'm going to put a link down there. Check him out. He's a great patron for the VC. There's a number of us now who have crossed over and gone on to his podcast platform. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. Brad, cheers, love your work, and everyone please have a look, check it out. Look, it's great to be back into videos. I want to make some here, but I've also had a break from watching them, so I really need to get back in and see what all you guys have been out and doing. There's been some great threads and things. I'm miles behind on the ball, but you know, you do also need a little bit of time away every so often from the VC bubble, just to get a little bit of perspective and, you know, like the passion from the other things you like to do. And one of mine I've been able to do the past few years is some a bit of travel for leisure. But the good thing about that sort of thing, and you know, hopefully I've been able to put some pictures in below where you heard some quoting before, is that you know, you get to go shopping. That's right, the handbag has been out on the suggestion of a few, and I'm back with some stuff to show you. So hopefully I'll be able to get into those in just a minute. What you heard just before was Kinky Friedman, and if I can find that book, just here it is. Whoa, this is a very precarious video setup outside. I hope it doesn't work, but to me, if I'm going on holidays, there is nothing better than a Kinky Friedman mystery novel to just kick back, relax, and set the tone for the holidays. This one, meanwhile, back at the ranch, just right, you know what I mean? What could you say? It's Kinky Friedman as we know him, as the country musician, country rock musician, but in an alter ego that solves crimes and everything like that throughout America. Brings in a cast of revolving characters. And what could I say about his style? It's just, it's like a really low rent Raymond Chandler. Lots of witty one-liners and things like that. You know, you will always get a bit of a chuckle out of a Kinky Friedman book. And what can I say? Look, having him on my mind, when I came across his lasso from El Paso, how could I go past the old asshole from El Paso, as he wanted to have probably called this album. Lovely condition stuff. This was bought on the last leg of my trip in Singapore, so we'll come back to that. It's half in shrink, which is absolutely fascinating, and I think it's actually an American original. So very, very happy to have picked up some Kinky, the very first I've owned there. And a few of these records, it's actually VC members in mind, so clearly channeling Headley, another fat bearded guy talking about records, or man, Headley, very much thinking of you. And I picked up the Kinky Friedman album. I'll just see if I can get out that 70s epic label there. Pretty good quality, if I might say so myself, and it was about, you know, 25 Singapore dollars, so it's, you know, a couple of dollars cheaper in Australian dollars, but can't complain whatsoever. Alright, but first we'll dig. So that I took a trip, ended up basically in Singapore and Vietnam for about 4 or 5 days. And I went via Bangkok and Hong Kong, so didn't get a chance to dig in Bangkok, but I did in Hong Kong, and this is what I picked up. First off is Rodelius Selb's portrait. I've always loved that Easter Island artwork and imagery there. We've got some liner notes and things on the back, and this is just a straight Bureau B remaster, or sorry, reissue from 2010. I've got one other Rodelius album, Jardin à Feu, but I've heard Calm, Gorvo 31, really bad with the numbers after your names, guys. Gorvo 31 has said some kind words about this before, so I'm hoping it's definitely on the quieter, more pastoral end of what we're seeing here. Next one I picked up, it almost felt like a theme for the trip, was Slowdive's Blue Day. So this is a collection on the Music on Vinyl label, and it's a collection reissue of some early Slowdive tracks that didn't appear on their first 1 or 2 albums anyway. Slowdive shoegaze basically, so very nice textural guitar sounds and things, and very excited because they're coming to Australia and they've never toured here before, and they've just released tickets for next January, so excited there. The last one to pick up in Hong Kong was a real find. We've got Sachiko Kanenobu with Miss Aura. And this is a pretty new album for me to discover. Lovely, just like, this is beautiful, beautiful artwork. Really thick gatefold sleeve. We've got some lyrics that are in Japanese as well, but this is gorgeous stuff. I only just discovered it a week before I went away on CD, very fortuitously, and just struck an immediate chord, and I was so surprised to see this turn up in Hong Kong. 2016 repress. The originals are hideously expensive, but we're talking basically folk and folk rock refracted through Japan, but very much in a Western style. I think I was getting touches of Neil Young, Joni Mitchell in there, and even on the softer side going down to Vashti Bunyan and the British side of folk. So definitely in there, a little bit of folk rock instrumentation, but yeah, if any of those names have clicked with you, hopefully I'll be able to either put a needle drop in or get some links for this. Fantastic stuff. Really, really recommend it. Yeah, her story, I think she was around throughout the late 60s in the Japanese music scene, folk scene. This album came out maybe about 71 or 72, and a week or two before it actually was released, she left Japan to effectively join up and marry Paul Williams, who was in the, I think he was the editor of Crawdaddy magazine, which is a big US music periodical or weekly or that. So yeah, she left the whole career behind, but she left an incredible album that is just starting to get some of the love it deserves in there. Real quality stuff, and some of it was even made and arranged by Harumi Hosono, a name I keep coming up with lately. Oh, hello. We got a bug that probably wants to eat me in a second. Harumi Hosono was a fantastic guy that he ended up in Yellow Magic Orchestra, but you know, even throughout the late 60s and onto the 70s, 80s, he's just popping up everywhere for me at the moment. So to see his fingerprints on this album as well, fantastic stuff. Really happy to get it. It wasn't cheap. I think it was 385 Hong Kong dollars, which is about I forget how much, 65 Australian dollars. So not cheap. Anyway, next one, really couldn't resist this. This turned out to be about 25 Singapore dollars. So we're back in Singapore now, and it's a copy of White Light, White Heat. I haven't got this on vinyl. Absolutely essential velvets. I was kind of taken by the flip back, or probably not full flip back sleeves, but you can see the painted on artwork at the end there. There's no tattoo that you can discern on there. It's probably getting a bit dark now, sorry about this, guys. And the other part it does certainly have is the Verve needle, something I never get tired of seeing. However, there's always a however, isn't there? Sometimes that price is just too good. Didn't have any internet access to check the pressing details, and it's possible, quite possible, that this is a bootleg copy from the early 70s. Now that's okay. I mean, I can get an upgrade copy sometime in future, and I'll always have this one to remember a trip by. I'm finding records are a remarkable way that you can remember trips by. If you've still got a memory. I mean, shit, I don't have a memory for most other things, but records, always got memory space for a record. Next one, on the velvet tip, John Cale, Paris 1919. Look, this to me is actually one of the quintessential travel albums. There's a real feel of dislocation, of moving through places and spaces and time on here, and for all of that, it gives it a very special air. Even the artwork, if you can see on the back there, to me has always felt somewhat ephemeral. You know, he's sort of in a room and like in a ghostly sort of presence. But what an album, just a gorgeous album. He's backed on a couple of tracks there by members of Little Feat. Fantastic stuff. And what I really enjoyed about this is it's an original UK pressing on Kinney record, on Reprise, with the K prefix for Kinney, so early 70s pressing. That one needs a bit of a clean, unfortunately, and it was interesting, the guy that sold me this, and I have to put a shout out to Joseph from Here Records in Singapore. I'll try and put a link down below. Fantastic guy, fantastic store. Couldn't recommend enough. Yeah, great stuff. But yeah, he actually said an interesting point, because in Singapore I was seeing probably an equal split in a couple of stores that I went to for second hand anyway, of Japanese presses and American presses. And he said mostly the American presses weren't as clean, actually physically clean. Whether or not they played as well, different matter, but the Japanese ones were generally bought and had already been cleaned and in pretty immaculate shape. And from what I can tell, especially from the last two I've got, he's right. I don't need to clean these last two, that's for sure. Alright, couple more. Neil Young Trans. This is a 1982 Japanese pressing. Yeah, look, what are people's thoughts on Trans? I'm late to the party and I can actually enjoy quite a bit of this. I imagine if you were a Neil fan in '82 and this came out, it might be a bit of a shock, but for me, can't complain at all. Transformer Man, what a track. That always sticks out to me. Sample and Hold. There's some interesting songs on there. I mean, yeah. I'll just show you, there's the Geffen label. I had no idea this was a Geffen label as well. And again, a Japanese press for this one. Lovely, lovely condition and really happy to see. And again, Lise, every time I've got a Neil Young record in hands now, I do have to think of you. And the last one I was able to pick up was a copy of Journey Through the Past for a pretty decent price too. It was about 28 Singapore dollars. This is a Japanese press. And for some reason in Australia these go for silly amounts of money. I mean, I see them 40 to 100 Australian dollars. I know it's never been released on CD, but all the songs are pretty much around elsewhere, I think. Anyway, couldn't refuse this because it's that early 70s Neil Young. Just quietly, I do love this artwork as well. Flipping that out to have the records coming out like that, and you've even got a little booklet inside as well for the Japanese press instructions and the all the lyrics, even the interpolations from the movie as well. Great stuff. And yeah, look, it's an odd little part of Neil's canon. I'm not sure how much of it people or what people know about it. I'm fairly new to the whole idea, but I'm assuming it was some sort of a retrospective film that dragged in a narrative and a storyline, as well as evinced by these guys around here. But yeah, it as well as it being a literal journey through the past, you've got songs from, you know, Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Neil Young on there. You've got that 16-minute version of Words that turns up on Harvest. So the Stray Gators are on here. And then you've got some other little bits, including the Beach Boys with Let's Go Away for a While at the end. Strange, weirdly essential album, and this one has always played out to me a bit like a fever dream, you know, this sort of things that come in and out of focus. Yeah, but it's got that certain feel that I don't know, yeah, it's alluring, beguiling, or something like that. Anyway, look, that's enough from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, for joining us outside here. Yeah, check out the links down there. Thank you again, and yeah, let us know in the comments if you've got anything to say about Journey Through the Past or Trans, any of the records you've come across here. And I look forward to catching up with you all soon. I've got some more records that have come in since I've been away, so I need to get in and show you those as well, and I can't wait. Thank you very much, everyone. Really, well, it's lucky I put that lid on, because that's still good to go. But cheers, VC.